ever bloodthirsty salamander experience. Some will say second, some will say first, depending on what's out there, you will know. But this podcast is where a couple of friends that are trying to get by are talking about life, relationships, politics, maybe a little sports, possibly some aliens. But we're going to be discussing it from an everyday person's perspective. My name is Justin. I'm here with my co-host, Steven. How you doing today, Steven?
I'm doing great this evening, and how about yourself, Justin?
I'm doing really good. That intro was pretty epic on that music. That's a good ad that we did. Some we weren't able to add for the first time because, as you heard, this is our first podcast out there. So a lot of this is trial and error. It did start in error, but right now we're running a good trial, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
I think that the music definitely is a nice touch. What are you drinking tonight?
Oh, tonight I'm going with some Bullet Bourbon. Wanted to get that Sunday whiskey life. Long weekend. Going to be a long week having to work every day but Thanksgiving. So I'm getting it in when I can get it in.
Very nice.
Yeah, what are you drinking?
I went with the Deep Ellum Dallas Blonde tonight. Just relaxing, kind of sulking in the Dallas beating that I watched earlier, and just going to take it easy heading into the week. Short week, though.
Oh, yeah, I wish that was mine. Is like I said, got to work every day but Thanksgiving. Where then, what I got a 3 hour round trip commute to go to out to dinner with a lot of people I don't know. But it should be interesting. Although, again, Texas and not shooting guns. This is new to me. I came here to Texas thinking everybody be shooting guns out in the field, but we're gonna go somewhere and just pretty much watch football, maybe ride a four-wheeler or some sort of like gator thing where you're out there just exploring this 1,000 acre property, but no guns.
I think that it's probably the location of Texas where you're at because I know a lot of people with guns in Texas. So,
See, that's what I
uh,
thought.
if you were coming to my Thanksgiving, you would be shooting guns because that is what Evan wants to do, and that is what we are going to do.
I am very jealous. Like I'm gonna go out there and heck, I'm just gonna bring a fishing pole and hope something good happens because otherwise it's gonna be awkward and I'm gonna be drunk.
Yeah, you definitely can't go wrong bringing the fishing pole because I like fishing more than I like people, so can't go wrong there.
Cannot. Well, let's get into why we started this podcast. Like, what got us here? Why are we all of a sudden out of nowhere deciding this is a fun idea? What do you think?
Well, I mean, if you want to get back to probably where this all started, was 2020. I started going through a divorce. You started ending a decade or longer relationship and moving to Dallas after coming back to Oklahoma from Tampa and now to Dallas and who knows where next. But I think even though we've been friends the whole time, like just that those big changes in our lives, along with COVID just screwing up everyone's life, made our just our day to day relationship a lot stronger.
That is true because I mean, with it, we had discussed on previously like how hard it is just to go out and make friends. Like as true adults, like it's really difficult, and I never imagined it. Like as a social butterfly as I am, I really thought it'd be easier. But then as you get out there, everybody I think is has a hyper judgmental something or just not able to connect. So that's where us playing
It's
Fortnite every
just
night.
like yeah, like, and I just think that bonds are developed at certain times of your life that are just not as easy to develop as you get, as you're older and you're in different settings. Like, if you look at most people's close friends, I mean, they've either been great friends since college or they've been great friends since childhood. And most of just like us, I mean, we're going on 20 years now. I mean, ours are from, childhood. So it definitely, because you get out in the real world and then those people already have those bonds with other people. And it's kind of like, just like when you're friends with a group, but you're not that original part of the group, you just kind of always feel like an outsider.
Absolutely, because that's how I feel like with my girlfriend and her friends. They've all been friends since high school through college and all came down here to the Dallas Fort Worth area pretty much together. And then even her sister and friends, like they all live in the same neighborhood now too. So it's even same relationships back from high school or followed through. And then, yeah, with us, a lot of the friends had went places or they're just not really around our little area. And it's just wildly hard to make new friends at this life or at this stage of life.
No, and definitely. And then like my other good friends that are around this area, you've moved away and stuff, but like, I have friends that moved away out to Florida as well. But like, everybody's got a family now. Everybody's got a career, jobs. Like life when you have kids is just different. Like it really is. And, I was one of those people too, with three kids and a wife and, that life going, I mean, it really takes up your time. And then, you know, I'm, not by design. Now I only have my kids half the time. So I have this, other half of the time where, you got to try to figure out, build a life again. So, and what to do with that time. So, obviously we started playing games together and started talking more often. And I mean, we've essentially been doing a podcast 3 or 4 times a week just between the two of us. So
It is true.
might as well put it out there on a platform.
But honestly, I think that true statement there, because we have such differentiating views, but also very too many similarities in how we got to these views. But in the end, like I think that's what's probably inspired me a little bit to get that out there is like, man, is anybody else having this conversation with somebody with opposing views, and then in the end able to have a good time with each other? Like, are there many people out there with that sort of relationship, with that sort of topic discussion of being able to voice those interesting things that maybe you're like, oh, I don't know, like, should I even say that? Is he gonna hop down my throat? Are we gonna talk it out? Or is we gonna just start stabbing each other in the neck? And with our relationship, we're able to really work it out and really talk and really hear each other and challenge each other, so that way at the end, like, I think we both come out better just at the end of it than we would just holding these opinions in and getting defensive if somebody says something this way or that way. It's a lot more enjoyable to me, and I think others hopefully will be able to listen to and have that same opinion, be able to forge those relationships and not be so heated all the time over just everyday subjects we have to experience. Like, we're all humans, we're all really trying to get through this one day at a time, and we all have these thoughts that nobody gets to hear or get to be challenged to expand on. And I think just with us doing gaming every night, having these conversations is something that, like I said, I really want other people to hear and hopefully think about, so that way we could really just as a society hopefully come together, because we're just humans getting by one day at a time.
I mean, I can't agree with you more. I think part of the problem we have is that everything is so polarizing now that that it's rare to find two people like us that we can actually hear the person's side, take process in what they're saying without a blinded view of political spectrums, and and apply logic to it and apply like the facts and be like, okay, you're right, like you're right on that subject, that and really, you know, actually be open minded about what's being said versus being defensive or being like angry over topics that don't even really directly affect our personal lives. So I think that it's great that I mean, our friendship comes before everything. So neither of us is going to be mad at the other person for thinking differently. And I think that we could go a long ways as a society if more people were like, okay, that's your right to have that view, and I disagree with it, but I hear where you're coming from, and I think we'd be a lot better off if we could get to there more so as a whole society.
Very much, yeah, because I had really in my notes, I just wrote down it's okay to disagree, and you just said it, stealing it from my brain basically, because it is okay to disagree. In the end, that's what really makes every individual great, is that they have their own path of life, and the way that they're going to get there is only really relevant to themselves. And it's wild to dislike somebody so much for not taking the same path, because I mean, heck, nobody's life is the same. Even my brothers who have had the same sort of life path in a sense, we're not the same. We got from one point A to point Z two different ways, four different ways probably.
Yeah, and I think you say it all when you say individually we're all different. I mean, we are all born with different skill sets and different strengths and different weaknesses. And I think individuality should be celebrated. And because at the end of the day, like, no matter the upbringings, like, we're all our own individual. And, you know, we, in this country especially, we get to form our own beliefs and go with that however we choose, and we shouldn't hate anybody or decide not to be friends with them because they decide to go a different route than we do.
That's very true. That's what makes life hard, but then easy. It got me thinking about something I had heard in regards to some other countries that aren't so strong individualists like ourselves here in America, but they do more conforming to the community, not in the word communism, just in the way that they see themselves, how packed they are in just their general day to day. Here we have a lot of space to be individual. A lot of the other countries, they're all on each other. So there was something interesting to where we're so strong in saying what we are different, how we do things different, and how that sets us apart, which is really not the case in these other countries where they really want to be just like that person next to them. They just want to be just like this person, and they don't get to stand out on their own feet and really take the challenges of what that could entail, starting a business.
For sure. Like, and I think one thing that's interesting about our country is because you talk about some of those other countries, when we do get in places in our country like New York City and Los Angeles and all these big cities that you just got people piled on top of people, you do get more of that less individuality mindset and more of like a collective hive mindset. I think it's interesting to look at the views of individuals around the country based on geography. Like, the more people there are, you're more likely to think one way, versus the more spread out you are, you're more likely to think another way.
It's very true because it's like you said, like some of these topics don't affect the whole or the individual, and that's something that's like really where you're not on top of each other having to ebb and flow with everybody to get through. It's like we're over able to just be ourselves, enjoy ourselves, know that some of these things don't even affect ourselves. So that makes my day to day, like getting into the new job where I've been working a lot more and paying less attention to anything of the topic events. Like it's amazing how much like it rarely affects my day to day. And which is really cool because at that time through COVID, through where it's like, oh man, everybody is this or that way, and heck, I can't go see anybody, so I want to somehow virtually or weird energy feel like I'm in the group, in the herd of being like, oh no, this is something and I should feel this way about it because everybody else does. And then it's like, oh, take a step back where you're just over here living life all literally by myself, doing it by myself. And I then look at this and none of it really affects how I'm going to get through, how my mind is going to get through the day because that's just something because I'm so individual out here by myself. It's not a thing I have to think about or even have to get myself poised to conversate about, which is actually quite interesting in comparison to previous things where I was always, doing some marketing stuff. I have to have that relationship building. So there's some topic of today's what's the weather? Oh, how was this in the news? Or did you see this? And now it's not any of that. So it's very interesting transition in that individual mindset that I have, which has probably helped inspire, the catalyst. Like you said, hey, let's do a podcast. I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this. So it kind of empowered that sense to where I wasn't like thinking, oh, this is a bad idea because this person said so, or that person failed, or this other reason. It was just a real simple, like I had that fire and you just added to it in a sense and be like, yes, let's do a podcast. So that's again, like that's how we got here is it was just time. We talk about it every night on Fortnite, 8 to 10. Find us murdering people, talking about your mom and how she was last night. But other than that, it's just enjoyable to have this conversation, have the drive, the inspiration to just try to put ourselves out there to hopefully, get 20 people to listen. I think we're gonna win. I hope we get to come back to this podcast a year later and be like, what the fuck were we talking about? That was so bad. Or, oh my god, our goal was 20 people. Now we have 20,000. Even 2,000 would just blow my mind. Like if that happened, dude.
200, man. If 200 people were listening to us, like, my mind would be blown. What you're talking about, though, and back to the individual stuff is, no matter what we feel about all these topics, they don't typically necessarily correlate to our specific life. At the end of the day, we are all the individuals, and ain't nobody that agrees with you out there helping you get by day to day. Like, whether you agree with them, disagree with them, we're still, I mean, it's still on you, it's still on me, it's still on everyone out there that's by themselves trying to get by day to day. Like, there ain't nobody helping us. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we are individuals, and we got to focus on that. Like, we got to celebrate everyone being an individual and not attack anyone for viewing that individuality the way they want to.
Yes, so much, so very true. I was thinking of that Drake song that was like with Eminem. I forgot the hook. Pretty much, ain't nobody done it for me. Something in that mindset, and it's a little bit of fuel for fire that I have for my daily, just to get through. It's like, ain't nobody gonna do this for me. Nobody's helping me out. Like my day to day is on me. It's on my shoulders. And it's also scary. I was hearing something that had to do with like men and women and how they go through it. Like a woman will just go through their day, always get these amazing compliments of being like, "Oh, you're doing great, you look beautiful," or just something like that. What do we get? Like nobody's out here complimenting us as we walk by, like, "Hey, nice calves, bro," or nothing. Nothing is out there.
No, I mean, as men, I mean, it's all on you. Like, ain't nobody patting you on the back for nothing. And if they do, I mean, it's very rare. And a lot of times, men more than anyone feel the most isolated because it's a lot easier for us to go through the days unnoticed, unless we're bringing something to the table for a company or for a person or something. Men need more strong relationships and be more willing to talk about things with their friends that are, bothering them because there's kind of like, a stigma to that. And there really shouldn't be. So, I mean, I know that you've been a huge resource and great person to turn to and everything I've been going through with my divorce and all that stuff, and basically always answering the phone. And more men need to be there for men like that.
Because yeah, I mean it's true. Because it takes a lot. I mean, I'm sure just to reach out. Like for me personally, I'm honestly the worst. Like I'll I'll drink till I'm completely over it, which might take a few days, few weeks. I don't even know. I just kind of get into my funk, and I don't ask for help ever. And it's something I'd like to do better at. But it's like you said, the whole society stigma of is like, men could get through it. You just pull up them bootstraps and you just get through it.
Or nobody cares, be a man. Like, you're
God, I
suck it
hate
up,
that.
be a man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
literally, suck it up,
And
be a
so
man.
much do I feel like that is the response. And I'm like, man, look, in the end, I'm an emotional, fragile being. And I'm like, my shell is about as, it's an eggshell. It's not like a hard cannonball. It's like, oh man, you hit me wrong. I was like, look, I'm just going to go ahead and go back inside myself and I'll be okay. Like, you're not going to see me cry, maybe. But if you do, heck yeah, it's
Yeah,
coming.
like, I'm a turtle just going back in the shell.
Because it's easier in there. Like it's so much easier. It'd be like, all right, just pop on Fortnite and talk shit to 8-year-olds who like I wish the Halo chats were available so we could talk shit to every single person in there, not just like fucking trolling my own team who has to save me as I'm dying.
Yeah, right. And then when you get a couple kills, you're like, "Oh, I'm carrying the team on my back." It's like, bro, we've been carrying you the last 5 games. Like,
It's like, yeah, but this one's different.
yeah, we got that one guy on our team that always carries us, and then the one time we carry, it's like gonna talk
I'm gonna
shit.
talk shit like for the rest of the night, for the rest of the month.
Yeah, be like, remember that time that I had 10 kills and I got us the dubs? Yep. And he's like, bro, but what about those other 10 games that night? Like, nobody cares about
Yeah, nobody cares about you carrying the team with your 10 kills. Like, look at me and my 7 though. Like, where are you at?
Blake for carrying us on a daily or weekly basis.
Weekly basis, every game basis. Like, as I was, so it also, I mean, in the sense, playing with somebody better and actually joining them, I mean, it's made us better. Like, it's made me much better. Where I'm so cocky, I'm like, yeah, screw that, I'm better.
Oh, I mean, when I started, it was bad. I just kept thinking they're gonna stop playing with me.
It's like nobody wants to play with this bad. That's what I thought at first, but I think I was just kind of drinking heavily, going through my emotions and talking to talkatives, and brought you in. It's like great, fantastic. Because
Yeah.
now, I mean, heck, we don't even go. Well, okay, there was this one time we went like one night without winning, but that is such a fluke now that we're literally out there just
If we don't get a couple dubs and finish in top five regularly, like it's definitely an off night.
yeah, definitely off because I forgot who I was at some party talking about like, oh, you guys play video games because mid 30s. I think everybody still plays video games. The answer is no, and they're like, oh, you enjoy beating up 8-year-olds? I was like, fuck yeah, I do. These fucking kids talk so much trash. You guarantee it's enjoyable. Plus, it just
Yeah, and it's not as good as it used to be because we should be able to talk to these kids in game. Like these kids should be able to talk to us in game.
yeah,
Like that's the way it used to be. You used to get on whatever it was, Call of Duty, Halo. If somebody was wrecking you, they were going to let you know they were wrecking you.
huge wreck.
And now it's like everybody's soft, so they don't even allow that option.
Yeah, cyberbullying took a turn for the worst. I guess I think
Yeah.
some of that is just our communication methods have gotten quicker and more just larger.
And I mean, I've seen 30-year-old men screaming at 8-year-olds on Halo, so maybe that wasn't the best, the best platform, but, you know, he was only screaming at that kid because that kid was destroying him. So, I mean, like, that kid got a lesson in trash talking. So, and eventually that kid was trash talking another 8-year-old when he was 30.
Yep, taught them the rules of life. I say that as we were talking about like how men is like just don't shut up and be a man. It's like yeah, that's kind of where that went in in the game. It's like
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
but shut up,
that's
be a man. But also
feel like that's just normal, like men behavior. Like if we aren't talking trash to each other, like probably not very good friends,
that is, I mean, that
right?
is a true statement. Like if you can't have those jokes,
But you still got to be able to like put all that BS aside and like actually be there for your friend when they need it.
yeah, I think some uh, have that hard scenario of like how do I transition from just talking shit, playful, because you grow up with that mentality, like because a lot of this is now we're realizing like shit, it's a problem, but previously it was like going through is like how do you learn to not bullshit all the time with your friend and actually be there as a friend for your friend, and it's a hard transition.
And then we're so taught to like hold our feelings in, right? Then you just feel weird. Like so when they say it to you, like your reaction is like you feel weird, right? Like you're taught not to show your emotion. So like all of a sudden you feel awkward and you're like, quit being gay, dude.
Yeah, and
Like
that whole thing is like quit being gay. It's like it doesn't mean you're like out there being gay. Like be as gay as you want to. Just quit being a fucking annoying little prick. Whatever.
like yeah, annoying. When we said it regularly like we used to, you never thought of gay people when you were saying
Never.
it. You know what I mean? Like it was just a diss and something you said to your friend. It was just like, don't be gay,
Mm-hmm.
bro. It wasn't like a derogatory attack on people who actually were.
Exactly. And that's like something where I always think about like who are the ones out here saying it's wildly something, which is cool now in a sense that we're more open minded to the idea that it's like, oh man, we're not actually gay and probably we shouldn't say these things because we're trying to be respectful. But at the same time, who is out there thinking we're actually like degrading somebody like that? It's like we're not doing that on in that manner. It's just like it's a
No,
cuss
and we
word.
weren't ever doing it to people we didn't know. You know what I mean? Like you didn't see like people that were or you suspected or you could tell were and you were saying it to them, you were just saying it to your
Yeah,
friends. Like
because in a sense we were just taught that, and we
yeah.
didn't put anything with it, like saying retarded. It's like, well, I didn't think much about it. It was just like,
No,
rather than
like,
saying little
you
shit, I
know,
call you gay. I call you whatever it is. It's like you're just being a little prick. It doesn't mean anything more than that. That's what it means in my head.
yeah, there's no deeper meaning, there's no subconsciousness to it. It's just talking trash.
Like I was going through college soccer in a lot of these Hispanic countries, the stuff that comes out of their mouth is just like,
Woo.
whoa,
Like,
wow.
did you see what happened to Mexico
Yeah,
recently?
because they were chanting,
They literally got banned from having games in their home country for saying racial slurs to the other
which was
team.
all,
Like,
it was all around gay. I
like
think the word faggot in Spanish was really like what they were saying and chanting.
yeah, did I say racial slurs? I didn't mean racial slurs. I meant like they were saying homophobic
Exactly.
slurs to the other team.
And it's like,
Um,
that's not so much of you being homophobic or homo or
but
whatever you want to say, homosexual. It's like, no, you're just the opposing team. You're the enemy for the next hour and a half.
and I mean that really is, in a lot of those cultures, it's not very accepted. Like, and it's not uncommon for them to use that language
At
at
all,
all.
because they, I mean, also with their strong Catholic or religious beliefs, I feel like has something to do with.
Yeah, for sure. Like you can't, that is definitely a big part of it for sure.
Which then is like, some of the most flamboyant people I know are also Hispanic. So it's like interesting. It's like we're chanting this to say go
Well, I
fuck
mean,
yourself, but also you're gonna come out cross dressing with a big
they
flowery, feathery everything.
they got a loud culture, so no matter how it comes out, I mean, it comes out, right?
Loud culture, no matter how you cut it, like with noise, with dress, with everything. It's just very loud, very want to be noticed. I feel like because when I went to Cancun and we rode the bus, there was a mariachi band that just joined in, and I was like, this one is like the wildest thing I've like. Do I tip them? I don't know. So I tipped them, but I was just like, wow, they looked nice. They're just going around daily getting tips on a bus. Like, who knows if they live in a shack down by the beach, but they were flashy and loud and getting their like money to make a come up.
I've worked with quite a few people that grew up in Mexico and spent most of their life here and then came here as adults or young adults. And I mean, whatever they do it big. Like, what is it when the girl turns 16? What's that
Quinceañera
called?
or 15.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. And my buddy that worked with us, he would tell me they're going to a party and the guy spent $3,000 on the party. Like, I can't imagine spending $3,000 on a party for one of my kids. Then,
No.
like, basically, at birthday parties, I mean, they're huge events, tons of drinking. I mean, they go all out for any celebrations, and it's quite impressive, honestly.
Yeah, it is. That's some of the people we're gonna meet in San Francisco. I heard that like their 1 year old's party was just like a massive production. Definitely had an open bar, multiple cakes. Like it was a lot for the adults, but I'm also like the theme was a 1 year old party. Like, why do you have an open bar at a 1 year old party?
I mean, I'm not gonna complain.
I mean,
Like,
I'm not. Be there all night with a drink in my hand, and the next thing you know, I'm just going to rely on these kids to, I don't know, take their power wheels and drag me home. Like, that's a
it's
DD, right?
it's like that thing though, where they say what's something that is trashy if you're poor and classy if you're rich. It's day drinking and recreational drugs.
Tell me about it. Oh my! I remember like just being in Tampa and really enjoying the day drinking there because I mean it's beautiful on the beach. Everybody's just out there having a great time. It's Florida, so everybody is out there not giving a damn about anything. And then day drinking here in Dallas is just more pretentious, judgy thing. It's like, meh, why are we drinking in here in the day? And I'm like, because it's Saturday, it's Sunday. I don't know. At least it's the weekend. Like it's not a Tuesday. But then I show up
Yeah.
on Wednesday and I'm like, hey, it's 11 a.m. Where's those mimosas at? Then
uh,
maybe it's an issue.
are you being productive? Eh.
Yeah, I'll bring a laptop, make it look like I'm productive. Yeah, I think for now, I think we got a lot of good things talked about for everything. Super stoked about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of fun doing this first or second episode,
Yeah, for a second.
depending on which one gets posted.
Third, oh my god, yeah. Either way, it's fun, absolute experience to also just have these conversations. Because some of it, for me personally, there's some things nobody has probably heard me say uh, that I was just able to say freely, and I appreciate you for being here to allow me to do that.
Oh, absolutely. And I enjoy doing it, and I'm going to continue to enjoy doing it. Looking forward to some of the interviews we have lined up from longtime military vets to business owners to people that have been through hard things in their life and are recovered and got things going the right direction. And just a lot of different people we plan on talking to, and just those everyday people that have real world experience and that can share that with other everyday people.
Absolutely agree. It's going to be a fun time. So I hope if you guys made it this far, you're excited for our next episodes as they come. As we get our social medias and different places out there, we'll be sure to share those as they come along. But for now, I think that's all we got for the Bloodthirsty Salamander experience. Been an amazing evening of conversation.
I agree, and it's time to sign off for Stephen and Justin.
All right, you guys have a good night.